Alright, so I was kind of annoyed with where I left this tutorial. I realized there was a much faster way to do this, and I figured, let's go ahead and fucking do it. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna delete everything that I did before because nobody likes it. It's all terrible. Everything's insane. Alright, so I'm gonna go and find my mold shell that I was using previously. I have it. Yay, it is here. Okay, what I'm gonna do is do the same cylinder nonsense that I did from the original video. Why does this keep messing? Hang on. Where are my settings? This is unacceptable and I hate this. And I used to have a thing in here called like all the shit and I can't find it and it makes me sad. There we go. Maya Classic. That's what I want. That's what I learned on in 2013. Let's get on with it. Okay. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna zero this out and basically do exactly the same thing I did before, where I just sort of tack this awkwardly in the top of the object for the sake of horrendous looking demonstration. So, we do this. We grab these. We mesh, boolean, union these dudes. And now, here's where things get way faster. Okay, let's go through and do something like this, where the top of this is going to define where this mold stops, and the bottom of this is just going to define where this ends. So I did make these. Usually I will elongate them slightly at the bottom so I can trim off a little bit and get a nice perfectly flat edge. We're going to grab this cube in my perspective view, and I'm going to take this cube, take the object inside it, mesh, boolean, difference that. What this should give us is basically a mesh with a ginormous freaking hole that is dildo-shaped in it. And this is delightful, because what this allows us to do is basically the same thing that we did before, where I'm going to come through, I've messed up all of my views, and it makes me sad. Okay, hopefully the left view was what I was going for, and it was! How exciting. Okay, so I'm going to, like I said, do exactly the same thing I did in the first video. I'm going to make a plane and extrude it, and the only reason I'm making a plane is just because it happens to be centered perfectly on the origin, and I don't like using vertex snapping if I don't have to. That's not to say I don't like it, I do quite like vertex snapping. It's incredibly helpful, however, I'm lazy and it requires extra button clicks, and I don't need to do it. So I'm gonna grab the same thing, duplicate this inner object, grab one of these sides, mesh, boolean, intersection, and do the same thing on the other side. Mesh, boolean, intersection, and now we have, delete the history on these because it's a force of habit, we have two delightful pieces already with these side shelly dudes on here, and what we can do now is take these edges here and kill them, and take these, and kill them, and this, and that, and that, and all of them, and just kill all the edges. All you then need is this, and then you can take this and, you know, extrude this like a normal person, so that you have whatever wall thickness you want. And apparently I need to do -1.4 to scale this the correct direction. Again, this might cause clipping depending on your geometry, in which case, if you really cared, you could go ahead and fix that in Mesh Mixer. Honestly, I found most of my slicers don't super care about it, so I just kind of leave it be and cough. Okay, you do also want to run a mesh cleanup on this, because you'll notice there's some really wonky geometry happening in here, which actually seems to have just been weird wonky geometry that was a weird floating face left over, and I just deleted it, and now we're fine. Ignore the fact that half of this seems to be black. I believe that to be some kind of strange mesh error, and it should not be affected by stuff, I don't think, when you export this. So, let's do the other side for funsies. Like I said, in this case, I'm just going to marquee select all of this, because I can. If you make your box oversized, it's much easier to select those extra faces. So I'm going to go ahead and do the exact same thing, where I grab this, and let's see what direction this is going to make me extrude stuff. Apparently, I get to do -1.4 again. Great. And now we have this bizarre looking little goober of a mesh, which again, on both of these, you should be running a mesh cleanup so you're not covered in n-gons, and just double check for any weird nonsense in the middle, and now you have something semi-passable as a mold shell. It does appear that there is some strange, again, clipping geometry, particularly on the inside of this, which is usually actually why I remembered I do things the way I do in the first video. But again, you can clean this up with a mesh cleanup if you so chose. So that is just another option for doing mold shells once you've done all of the other things. Yay! Hopefully that was helpful. Please enjoy this broken mesh on this fine Monday of a day. I was going for Saturday, and then I was going for Wednesday, and then I'm like, I give up, and then I realized it was in fact Monday. Happy Monday!